Zach LeDay showed eye of the tiger mentality against his beloved Žalgiris. This is the headline in the EuroLeague website right now.
ChatGPT?
Eye of the tiger,
thought-
because that was a quote, I think. He said something about
Eye of the tiger mentality.
Yeah. Zach is crazy. Zach is crazy. I heard how he was having an interview after the game. And, usually there's the coach, for instance, Luka Banki. It feels like the guy never has his normal voice. It feels like he shouts out, screams out all of his voice, and it's impossible for him to speak afterwards. So Zach was basically like the coach, barely speaking. And it kind of tells a lot about his motor, his passion for the game, because he's always screaming. And even in Žalgirio Arena, you could
Was he singing
hear
the national anthem?
I think he was singing
at least tried-
sounds
at
of the
least
national anthem. Yeah.
Because in Žalgiris Arena, the lyrics are still on the cube, right?
Yeah, but you probably
you
cannot
can
read.
try.
Yeah.
But, he was here for a year, so could have learned.
From what I remember, he was
Lithuanian in 1
singing
year?
a sound, trying to
Still
imitate the
huge
sound.
respect for, respecting our tradition of the national anthem before every game, because sometimes away teams don't really understand what's happening, and you can see players still shooting some shots or just sitting on the bench waiting for the game to start. And he knew that the anthem is gonna play before the game. That was a nice moment. But at the same time, he was on beast mode.
Man, he's on a beast mode the entire season, basically. I think he will make at least All-EuroLeague second team if Milan makes the playoffs.
So Milan is playing without Mirotic and Nebo, and Zach LeDay is playing for both of them.
Yeah, but he was already delivering before that happened.
I know.
So I don't know. I think he's huge. Not only on the court, he's having crazy numbers.
Yeah, 54, 51, 93, the percentages.
And not too often you see a big guy shooting free throws with that confidence. Like yesterday was 13 from 13, and on the season he's like 90%.
93, I guess.
93%.
He has missed 9 free throws out of 135 after yesterday.
And he's second in total fouls drawn in the EuroLeague.
Yeah.
Theo Maledon tops the list. And Zach is good at...
Yeah, first team all flopping.
Who else is on the first team all
He's
flopping?
respectfully showing the refs that he was fouled.
He looks like a guy after a party who's like starting to vomit. He feels like on it, and it's like he's falling in front. And
that works, man.
That works.
Figure it out.
I like Zach as a player. He likes to draw those fouls in his own way.
He outsmarted the EuroLeague game. That's easy. He's a good free throw shooter, so how to utilize that quality. And by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but he looks leaner. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I had a close conversation with him, and even his face, it feels like different. And I've asked him about, maybe you did something during the summer, and he actually told that he worked a lot individually. He lost some weight, and it can also kind of explain. He was always like high motor guy. He played big minutes, but now it feels like he can play big, consistent, quality minutes on both ends of the floor. And again, he's huge for Milan, not the way he displays his performances on the floor, but off the court, bringing that culture. I think that this was something that Milan was lacking of, and that definitely helps. I remember Nikola Mirotic in one of the interviews mentioned that Zach LeDay is the best thing that happened to him, actually. And it just explains the impact that the guy makes. So Milan should be very happy with this offseason addition.
Just a nightmare to play against and a blessing to play with. Because if you're playing against Zach, he's always looking for contact. He's drawing fouls. He can pop. He can shoot the free. He can drive, facing the basket. He can post you up. He can do everything, and it's just tiring to play against him. You can see yesterday, Žalgiris were switching in the second half. Every player that switches on Zach, he suffers. Every contact, he suffers. Brazdeikis is fouled out. Other guys we saw just allowing him to drive to his right hand, and it's just insane the confidence he has right now. And at the same time, it's a blessing to play with him because if something goes wrong, if your set is not working, you can always just give him the ball and he'll do the job. So it's an amazing performance from him, and the way he's playing right now, maybe he could be a contender for February Player of the Month, probably. I mean, it's still too early, but in February, there's only one game left, I think, because now we have the
today
break, right?
and on 27th or 28th, I think.
I know that in double game week, Milano didn't have a good game in Munich. It was a bounce back win yesterday, but looking at those numbers,
22 points.
He's like the top performer in the league right now.
3.5 rebounds this month. January was also good for him, 17.5 points, 4 rebounds. And Milan is on a nice track to compete for the play-in or the playoff position.
Anyway, guys, EuroLeague all flopping first team. Let's go.
Vezenkov, Mirotic.
Who?
Vezenkov, Mirotic.
LeDay.
So we have a front line already. The
Colo.
backcourt.
Janan Musa.
Janan Musa. The Colo.
Has to be in there.
The Colo.
Campazzo.
Just for his track record.
We have
Campazzo.
all flopping second team.
Campazzo.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Who else? Who else is on that team?
I know who is, but he's not playing this season. Marius Grigonis.
Oh, yeah.
Elite flopper. Elite flopper.
Top tier. Somebody has to go to the second team.
Yeah, and
I know, it's plenty to choose from.
Kalinic? Not
sure.
first or second team.
I mean,
not sure.
sometimes he exaggerates the contact when he's in the low post, but I don't have an eye on him being a flopper.
yeah, put your all flopping teams in the comments below. That's-
Yeah, and if you're like a fan of one of those big clubs, don't just put the starting lineup of your rivals. Just be creative and think of something else.
There was this moment. This was a busy week, double game week, and we had 2 games in Kaunas. And after Tuesday's game, actually, I kind of felt something like there's food poisoning. I felt like basketball poisoning after Tuesday's game. It was probably the longest and lowest quality game I've ever seen, at least in Žalgirio Arena. I'm sure there were lower quality games somewhere else, amateur level, second division, or whatever. But that was that bad. So I'm really happy that I managed to catch up with some of the games, like 2 of Panathinaikos games against Fenerbahce, and then the next one against Efes. Watch some Real and Efes as well. So we're gonna for sure cover that. And I would like to start with Panathinaikos actually, because Ergin Ataman said that they're in a critical situation. They lost two centers. The team was like on a roller coaster stretch, and it was an important stretch of the season to secure their spot in the top 6 or even in the play-in pool, because the standings are wild and crazy. And if they drop those 2 games against Fener and Efes, who knows? That would be a quite dangerous situation to be in. But they managed to win 2 games against great Fenerbahce team. They didn't lose a single game in January, I think, except from that one in OAKA. And then Efes. I mean, Efes played a also solid offensive game. But what are your impressions about Panathinaikos surviving that stretch and taking those 2 huge wins?
I think, first of all, Fener should feel like they kind of let it slip.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not only that, Nigel Hayes-Davis rushed that shot. It was a bad shot, and after that he fouled Kendrick Nunn. There were opportunities to clinch the game earlier, to be in a better situation. But yeah, in the end, it was just a really, really bad sequence for Nigel Hayes-Davis. I mean, these things happen. They're human beings, even though they're professionals. So yeah, they should feel like we had to win this game in OAKA. It was a good bounce back by Fener, and from Panathinaikos side, well, they survived that first game, and yesterday you could sense that Efes is kind of a comfortable opponent for them because they're also an offensive-oriented team. But if you try to match Panathinaikos with talent, as good as you are, Panathinaikos are probably better with Kendrick.
Especially in OAKA.
And especially in OAKA and Kendrick Nunn yesterday in the second half was just crazy. So it was a pretty close game, actually, after 3 quarters.
Even in the middle of the fourth quarter, it was like a 2-point game.
Then the game blew up, and PAO got that win. I would say it was a crucial double game week for them. It doesn't matter how they won those games. I mean, Fener game, maybe there was some luck involved.
Yeah.
FS game, they were just the better team. But it was just a crucial week for them, as you said. And right now, I think they're in an okay position. I think it's okay. I know that the standings change after every week, but they're more or less comfortable. I know that if you're Panathinaikos, your goal is to have that home court advantage. You're not going to be satisfied just with the top 6. So the 4th seed, at least, is what you're aiming for. And now they're probably 4th in the standings, right?
Yeah. I mean,
it doesn't mean much right now with 8 games left.
Bayern, they all
still,
have 16 wins.
Yeah.
They're on good pace. Let's just say that. And you mentioned that it was a close game against FS. FS yesterday, after 3 quarters, had made 19 of 26 2-point shots and 9 of 15 from the 3-point land. So basically, 28 made shots out of 41, and they still were losing by 2 points after 3 quarters. 75, I think 73. Ridiculous shot making was not enough just because they had more turnovers. And PAO had 5 more offensive rebounds. So they were just simply having more possessions. And, they have just enough talent to compete at that level. Once again, Kendrick Nunn, amazing game. What was that? 30 points?
And the second half.
Second half.
Only
36
only
total.
6 in the first half.
Yeah, and
30 in the second.
It's the second best performance in one half all time. Only Andres Nazioni, or he's Nazioni or Nazione? Nazioni, maybe.
If it's Italian pronunciation, then it's Nocioni, right?
Yeah,
but is he?
I mean, those Argentinian players, most of them have Italian names.
Connections.
So let's say Nazioni. He had 32 at some point of his career. I don't remember if it was for Real Madrid or in Vitoria.
Didn't Kendrick Nunn just recently have the best first half ever? Was against Milano?
First quarter.
Or first quarter?
Best,
first quarter.
7 threes, 21 first. No, maybe it was even more.
So he's just doing some side quests here, like breaking all sorts of records.
But it's always in OAKA. And like before this podcast, I mentioned to Donatas that I was expecting this kind of game from Kendrick because he wasn't struggling in the last couple of games.
Yeah.
But against FS, not known for their defense, especially in a way. Their defensive rating dropped hugely down. And with Kendrick in OAKA, I even put him back to my fantasy team. And we looked up the stats before this podcast. Playing at home in OAKA, Kendrick is averaging almost 25 points this season, 24 efficiency. Away, playing the same amount of minutes, only 16 points and 12.3 efficiency. So efficiency drops down by twice, points drop by 8, and 3-point percentage in OAKA, 47, while playing away, only 33. That's a huge difference. And it also correlates with Panathinaikos winning or losing this season. So it's no surprise. I mean, Panathinaikos depend heavily on Kendrick Nunn, and he delivered yesterday. That second half was spectacular, and I liked that it was a variety of ways in which he scored. It was not only one-on-one all the time. You can't score 30 in a half playing only one-on-one, but it started with him just staying in the corner, getting a nice pass to get into his rhythm. First possession of the third quarter, he makes the shot. Then he starts cooking one-on-one. Then there is again Slukas with the ball, and it's a luxury to have Kostas Slukas in the same team with Kendrick Nunn because you can just rely on Slukas to actually make the right pass at the right time. So, they're playing Spain pick and roll. Nunn pops back. It's a three-pointer. Nunn sets a screen, goes to the corner, receives the pass on time, in motion, makes the three-pointer, and then again, some ISO plays. So it's a perfect, I think, perfect variety, perfect match between ISO plays and some off-ball creation. So it makes it easier for Nunn and more difficult for the opponents.
You see how hyped Augustus is? Because
Come
it
on
is welcome to the most exciting unpacking in the history of the URBONUS podcast, because we're unpacking EuroLeague cards made by Panini, and I believe that it brings a lot of good memories to you as well from your childhood years and all your experience that you had collecting something, because you look like a guy who had big collections, no?
You could say that. I'm a big Panini fan. Not the sandwich, although it's also nice.
It's also good.
But the Panini brand, because my first one was '98 FIFA World Cup Panini album.
Wow.
I think we all started from football.
And after that, I moved on with all the World Cups and Euros. But in basketball, my first album was '98-'99 NBA season. I still have that in my parents' home somewhere.
Did you finish that?
No, I did not. There's some stickers I'm still lacking, but I do have the album itself. So the '98-'99 season NBA was the first basketball Panini album I had, and it brings out so much nostalgia, and I'm so happy that EuroLeague has this now. I think for not only for kids today, I mean even for old heads like me, it's an exciting time to unpack these and look for.
This is the most exciting part of the day for me, for sure. Today, like unpacking these cards, unpacking this hobby box. It's
a special box.
Yeah, you can find way more rare cards. I would say like this.
It includes one autograph, 180 cards. Base parallels, 25 inserts, 18 optichrome cards. And while we'll be unpacking, make sure to check for the latest, explore the latest releases, and use our promo code BasketNews5 on traceandchase.com. And let's check what we have.
Let's start. And we are going to have 20 cards. We are unpacking 2. So we are going to have each 20 players, 20 cards, and we are going to have a starting 5. As always, you should write down in the comments down below who will have the best 5. I'm looking for a signature. I'm looking for Marvel. Something special.
Oh, I have one retro. Okay. I see it's special card.
Okay, I have a legend card.
Retro series. Sasha Vezenkov and Barcelona jersey.
Ooh. You already had that, no?
But this is a different one, you see?
Man, I got...
What is that?
Yeah.
Nikos
retro card, right?
Yeah.
Nikos Rogavopoulos. One of the hottest players in the league right now.
I have Club Edition, Marco Bellinelli, Virtus, and of course, Legends, Dimitris Diamantidis.
I have a Marvel card.
You do?
No way.
I have...
It's
my
Wemby.
Marvel card with
Wemby.
Wow.
Yep. I'm winning this one. Amazing. It's on both sides.
It's for people
It looks
to
nice.
not forget that Wemby actually played in EuroLeague.
Yeah.
I have Chacho, but it's a simple card.
I'm winning this one.
Chacho.
I'm only missing an autograph.
Nikola Mirotic crunch time.
In Milan?
Yeah.
Or crunch time.
Crunch
Okay.
time card.
Looks different.
Oh, Ritis. Tiago Splitter retro card.
Nice.
I thought
That's what I'm talking about.
I thought
yeah.
it's Iggy Brazdeikis, but
Come on now.
I have another Sasha Vezenkov. But you see, there's a difference in this card. It's legendary card as
have
well.
this
So basically, I have 2
optic-
Sashas in my 5, so I'm fine.
I have Optic as well.
Chima
You see?
Waneke optic card.
How does it look like?
Yeah.
Okay,
Look,
it's really
optic-
optic.
It's shiny.
Optic Jaren Grant.
It's shiny.
Okay, fits the Chima's profile actually.
So that the second
I have
package-
so many PAO players, and this looks entirely different.
Crunch.
Crunch time. Kevin Punter, Partizan.
Yeah.
He
So I
definitely
did you find
I have
fits the
Mirotic.
description.
okay.
Crunch time Mirotic.
Isaiah Kanan optic from Olympiacos days. They're even. Oh, that looks cool.
And Razem Lorbek
Ooh, that's
from
a legend.
Barcelona, legend card.
Legend
Nice.
card. Okay.
Was he that good? Should I insert him to the
Rated prospect Nikola Topic.
Ooh,
Rated prospect. He is
That's a
rated.
rare find.
He is
But
rated.
these cards are
how many games he played in the
these
EuroLeague?
cards
But
are so
still, he
different.
has a card.
Wow, EuroLeague legend. Andres Nocioni in Caja Laboral jersey.
Okay.
Victoria, Caja Laboral.
Maybe that was the year when he scored 32 points in the second half.
Maybe.
Okay, I have a lot of Olympiacos.
This
greats. Lorenzakis, Peters,
I have
McCissick.
Mitru Long. Mitru Long, another Olympiacos great.
Luke Sigma.
Another Olympiacos
Another
great.
Olympiacos great.
Olympiacos
In
jersey.
Lampard.
And there it is. Crunch Times Lucas.
You have a lot of crunch time
Crunch
cards.
time.
You're
Lucas,
going to the
man.
Final Four,
I
man.
have 0 crunch time cards this time, but I mean, I cannot complain. Marvel, Retro,
and there's-
Legendary card,
There's
Optic card,
Nick. Optic card, Nick.
Calatis,
Yeah.
Eagle, Bold
Okay.
Eagle.
Haciel Rivero, Optic card. Now
so-
let's make our 5s, huh?
I have to build a 5.
I have so many good cards that I'm not
Can
sure
I include
what
those
to choose
legends
from.
and crunch time players to my 5?
Yeah,
Sure.
Oh, cool.
You probably should do that because
So
it's
Lucas
special
is
cards.
in my
because it's
5.
not only about the fit on the court,
Yeah.
it's about those cards special.
Okay, so
in their
Lucas
own way.
and Mirotic are here. Nocioni, legend. He's in my 5.
Man, I'm almost having Olympiacos roster in my 5.
Oh, it's-
Not sure about that yet.
That's where it
The
gets.
cards are rigged, huh?
I have
It's
to
Olympiacos and Panathinaikos.
leave out some legendary cards because there are too many bigs in my lineup. But okay,
You want to trade something?
Oh, yeah.
It's trade deadline.
You need a big man?
You need a big man?
No, I need a guard.
I can
can
offer
offer
you.
I can offer you Nick.
I have Splitter.
Nick Calates. I would change Nick for a Splitter
Deal.
because I need a center.
Deal.
Cool. Let's change
That's
these
amazing.
two EuroLeague legends. Splitter
Sorry.
is my starting
If you
center.
want-
You like Nico Harrison, bro.
I mean,
You take one offer and you go with it.
what was your offer?
Chacho
Oh,
Rodriguez.
Sergio Yul.
Come on.
Wow, now I have a perfect lineup. Perfect starting 5.
Although it was a good one, but Nick,
have-
Nick is Nick, the best passer in the early history.
I
so.
can offer you James Nunnally. No,
You can offer, but he can reject.
he can.
Thanks for your offer,
Sylvain
Augustus.
Francisco, Matias Lazor, Chacho Rodriguez for trade. Jerian Grant, Opticard.
Sorry, you're
Nothing?
late to the party.
Okay.
You're like Nikola Vucevic or Kevin Durant.
So
on the
do you
trade
have your
deadline, so-
5?
Yeah, I have my 5. So
What is it?
it starts from Nick Calates, Isaiah Kanan. And as you see, Nick Calates and Kanan, they're both optic cards. And my forwards, Retro Series Sasha Vezenkov and Legend Sasha Vezenkov.
We have 2 Vezenkov.
And my center is Wemby Marvels.
Yeah, you're winning this one.
I'm cool.
I don't know. My 5 is just pure legends. That is Kostas Lucas, Crunch Times Lucas, my point guard, my shooting guard, the one and only Sergio Yul, or Juj, should I say? One of the clutchest, 2 of the clutchest players in the early history, I would say. Then at small forward, it's Andres Nocioni himself, a legend. My power forward is Crunch Time, Nikola Mirotic.
It's like almost.
It's a perfect
all Real
lineup.
Madrid
It's a perfect
team.
lineup, bro. And
Yeah,
Thiago
it's solid.
Splitter
Yeah,
at center.
that was a good trade that you did. So I'm
Thiago
happy
Splitter
for
at
you.
center, man. People forget how good peak Thiago Splitter was and how important he was also on the San Antonio Spurs championship winning team. So
I didn't see Luis Scola card yet, but I wish to get there. I think it will be a legendary card. Maybe it will have an autograph. I don't know. What's your lineup? You're losing this one, but still you can.
What?
No, it's okay.
What?
You go.
What?
You go.
What? I start with Dimitris Diamantidis.
Oh, okay.
Legendary
That's a solid
card.
start.
Who's losing, huh? I'm winning the YouTube comments for sure. You will see why. Marco Bellinelli, a club edition.
Whoa, what's that? Show me.
Take a look.
Club edition. Look,
It looks super
different.
Looks
Wow,
super cool.
But looks super cool, yeah.
Then I have Crunch Time KP with Partizan jersey, so I imagine like in that series against Real Madrid. And then I have Matias Lazor at the 4.
I see what you did there.
At the
I see
4.
what you
You're
did
playing
there.
too bigs. You're
At the
playing
4,
too big.
yeah.
He's playing Partizan and Panathinaikos. Not
No, no,
bigs, not guards.
And
doesn't
then
matter.
a retro card of Thiago Splitter at the center.
Okay. So
That's it for today. Basket News 5 to get 5% off for these cards. It's a great thing to have Trace and Chase and Panini Cards as our partners. And we'll be back, I think, with more cards later.
Back on everyone.
I would love to unpack all of these that we have on the table right now, honestly.
But that would
Because
be
we
a violation of rules.
Yeah, we didn't get a card that's autographed, right? There's only
Autographed
one
card.
out of 180 cards, and we didn't find that one. Maybe the next time.
There is no autograph on my Mike Toby card. Sorry for that.
Shout out to Mike Toby.
Also, do you guys think that recently, like when Panathinaikos lost Matthias Lesor and had other injuries, so they basically lost their huge presence in the paint, we're starting to see the best of Jerry Osman because he's becoming a key part of this team. Like in the first half of the season, you could say Jerry Osman maybe was not delivering as much as you expected from a solid NBA player.
He was not playing.
He was not playing that
He
much.
was
First of
averaging
all,
14 minutes, if I'm
he
not
didn't
mistaken.
have the ball that much, but
Yeah.
like right now when they need to look for different options on offense, I think we're starting to see his true value.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
And I think that, when you have Slukas and when you have Nunn, you need just a guy like him who will play hard, who will make some spot-up shots, who will run in transition. He doesn't need the ball that much, but when he does have the ball, he does what he's asked to do. And, I was expecting him to maybe be inserted in the starting lineup since the beginning. But he had to wait a little bit, and now he's one of the main options.
He dropped the season high yesterday.
Yeah, 20 points,
20
4
points.
3-pointers, right?
I think
Against his former club.
I think since the new year, he already dropped like his season high 3 times. Something like that.
It was 18 points against Partizan, 16 against Baskonia, now 20 against
His
Efes.
numbers increased dramatically. In the first 19 rounds, he was getting only 15 minutes per game, averaging under 6 points. And now, since round 20, he is second in minutes played, 26, and he's second behind Kendrick Nunn in scoring, 13.6 on great shooting, 61% from 2 and 41 from 3. So yeah, his presence is huge. But I had one last question about Kendrick Nunn, since he's a big topic of this podcast, also because of this reason that we have on shop.basketnews.com. But not only this 30-point second half against Efes was amazing, his fourth-quarter presence against Fener was huge, because if you remember, in the first 3 quarters, he was struggling a little bit, mainly because of Fenerbahce's defense that was forcing him to kick out the ball. So he had like 4 points,
6 assists.
6 assists. He was 2
In the
from
first
5
half.
in the field in the first 3 quarters, I guess. And, he was out of his rhythm. He even missed 2 consecutive free throws in the fourth quarter. And I remember then, it's hard to imagine what he was like getting out there. He missed those 2 free throws, and during the next break, Panathinaikos fans stood up and started like chanting his name. Afterwards, he ended up scoring 11 of last 18 Panathinaikos points, of course, including this game-winning free throw against Fenerbahce. And again, he had this 30-point second half against the Efes, and during that stretch, he showed too small against Elijah Brown. He put on the floor, and also Dan Aturu was there. So basically, it was too small for Efes. And the question that I had, given his market situation and future and his impact, the way he delivers in his second year in the EuroLeague, is the EuroLeague too small for Kendrick Nunn? Do you believe that Kendrick Nunn should or might leave the EuroLeague for the NBA in the offseason?
Look, we're triggering Panathinaikos fans here because their expectation is probably that Kendrick Nunn is a Panathinaikos player for life until he retires. But honestly, we've talked about this during the season. He's the best player in the league right now. He's too good for the EuroLeague. That's my opinion. He's an NBA player. Like when we're talking about some of those great guards that we have in Europe, American guards, prime reason why they're not in the NBA is their size, like Shane Larkin, Mike James, Carson Edwards. Kendrick Nunn is a tall guard. Like, there's no reason for him not to be in the NBA. But it's his motivation. Like, you're getting good money here. You're being loved here. You're winning titles here. Maybe he thought about the NBA move in the summer, but after what happened last season, winning the Final Four, getting a luxurious contract extension, convincing him like, why should I go there? So I think for him to move to the NBA, he needs a really solid contract on a good team with a clear role, not just to go there to be a role player, a bench player, or something like that. Because Kendrick Nunn, when he started in the NBA as an undrafted guard, if I remember correctly,
Yes.
in Errick Spoelstra's Miami Heat, all of a sudden he was a starting point guard and he had an amazing rookie season. Later, some stuff happened. There was injury, not so good times in LA, but he's an NBA player. He's too good for EuroLeague, is my opinion. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. A guard with this size and scoring ability, left-handed, athletic, physical. When he wants to, he can play hard defense as well. There's no one to stop him in Europe.
But don't you think that, you mentioned that last sentence, when he wants, he can play hard defense. I think he can play on-ball defense, but a lot of times he's the main target of the opponents of Panathinaikos, especially in off-ball defense. He's always late. I know he's the primary option in the offense, so it's usual. You tend to relax a little bit. You tend to save energy. But in my eyes, the question is that does any NBA team see him as one of the options, one of the main ball handlers in the team? Because otherwise, the NBA teams are looking for defense first, and then, some shot making, and not necessarily shot making off the dribble. A lot of you have a lot of talent in the NBA. All the next guys are making the only spot up threes and playing really solid defense. Kendrick Nunn is not like 2 meters tall wing, and his defense might have a problem in the NBA if he is not the first option. So that is my question, because I know he's an amazing player, best in the EuroLeague probably, and for Panathinaikos he's great. But that's my question with him going to the NBA. Like either he's going to a non-contending team to be one of the main guards, or main guard off the bench, let's say. But can he go to a real contending team with the package that he offers?
It depends if there's an organization that's willing to trust him. It's just as simple as that. I'm looking at, let's say, Jamal Murray playing next to Nikola Jokic, and we're thinking about Jamal Murray as a superstar. He's not an all-star, never been an all-star, actually. And honestly, I'm thinking that Kendrick Nunn is not that far off that level Jamal Murray's playing at, honestly, because it's just a matter of being in the right position. So, yeah, if someone's willing to trust him to try to make that move, to risk a little bit, I could see that happening. But realistically, probably he would get some offers from mediocre NBA teams. And he's not going to sign like a $5 million contract.
That's my next point. Like, is he going for a veteran minimum contract when he can be the main guy here and earn more?
I don't think so. I mean, in Panathinaikos, you're happy. You have the fans behind you. You have the owner behind you. You have a great contract.
You're the hero.
You're winning
a god
titles.
figure in Athens.
You can be the MVP of the league if you want to, and you might be even this season. Who knows?
You're getting this love from the fans, this attention. You're enjoying the game. The team relies on you. I mean, it's
and the level of competition is really high. But
it's something that's hard to refuse.
Again, if some NBA team puts, let's say, $12 million per year on the table, you wouldn't reject that opportunity, probably.
For sure, no.
It doesn't even matter whether we're talking about the Washington Wizards or the Miami Heat or the Denver Nuggets. It's $12 million. And he's at his peak right now, actually. I think he has 4 or 5 years at that level.
Exactly. He turns 30 in summer.
Yeah.
So in the EuroLeague, you at least have 3, 4, 5 really solid years, and you still have a big window for the NBA shot.
If you're Eric McCollum, you're going to play until 50.
We're going to talk about that old guy later for sure. But yeah, Some had, let's say, questions over Nunn's efficiency last year, and I'm even talking about some big profile players, about some big profile guards actually. But this year, I mean, there are no questions anymore. He's averaging 20.5 points, 55% from 2, 41% from 3, 3.5 rebounds, and 2.8 assists per game. His efficiency increased by almost 7 points from 11 to 18.4. So, I mean, it's just a matter of the offer probably. And the big fact is that although he signed a 2-year contract extension with Panathinaikos, he has the NBA exit clause in his deal. And from what I heard, it's like this standard NBA out, nothing crazy, nothing in Real Madrid territory, no 6-7 million buyouts. And he switched agency recently. He switched to Wasserman. So the intention is clear, to help him to get the best NBA market situation as possible. And for Pana, the only hope is to expect that, as you mentioned, nobody throws 10, 12 million. And even if they do, I wouldn't be surprised to see them throwing 4 or even more million euros here in Europe to convince him to stay. So
it's just basketball is a funny thing, not a sport. Funny thing, like you tend to compare players by their accolades, let's say, by their achievements, but sometimes the eye test is also really important. I look at Fred VanVleet leading the Houston Rockets, being the key player in Houston. Like, what does Fred VanVleet do better than Kendrick Nunn? Honestly, could you tell me one thing? Defense, but he's small.
Yeah, but
effort.
It's not that big of a difference. It's effort. It's just defense.
But do you think defense? The difference is that big that makes Fred VanVleet such a better player than Kendrick Nunn?
Playmaking, maybe also.
Not sure about that. Honestly, if there is difference,
he's more a complete player.
But if there is difference, it's not that big. I don't think there's a big gap between these two players.
I don't know. Defensively, I see a big gap.
A big one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at least it's not a 40 million difference, I guess.
Right? I don't think it's a
$40 million difference. For sure, no. But
so.
This is the question. You already have players that have huge contracts, and now with the second apron rules, you have teams that are more willing to, bet on their draft picks rather than giving out those mid-level contracts to guys that are from the EuroLeague. So they would much more willingly bet on a young player than grabbing someone who is playing right now in the EuroLeague and like really, really pouring money to him. So this is where I see an opportunity for Panathinaikos to keep him.
Also, basketball, especially the NBA, is all about, if you're not at, let's say, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, or Luka Doncic, it's just about being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the most successful role players of that league throughout the history, at some point in their career, they were just in the right place at the right time to be the right piece of the puzzle. Because otherwise, you might look like a player that doesn't have much value in the NBA, but then all of a sudden you fit somewhere. And it's different when we're talking about the guard, someone who plays with the ball a lot, as you said. So for Kendrick Nunn to be effective, he probably needs to have the floor general, let's say, role on that team.
A stable role.
A stable role. He's sharing this with Lucas, but they play together on the court a lot. Like Lorenzo Brown at the moment is like the fourth ball handling option behind
Lorenzo Brown.
I forgot about Lorenzo
barely
Brown.
plays. Lorenzo Brown barely plays nowadays.
It's
I forgot that Lorenzo Brown was in the team, actually.
Exactly. So it's Nunn, Lucas, and Grant.
4 games in a row, Lorenzo Brown has not crossed double-digit minutes. Like 9 minutes and 17 seconds is the most he played in the last 4 games. 3 minutes against Žalgiris, 9 against Milano, 8 against Fener, and 4 against Efes.
Hasn't scored a bucket in
4 games.
4 games, yeah.
Hasn't scored in 5 of the last 6. Against Baskonia, he had 25 minutes. He scored 12, but other than that, it's zeros. It's Lucas, and we didn't talk about Lucas or Juancho, but I thought they were super important in these 2 wins. Lucas was amazing against Fener in the 4th quarter. Made some great passes in the fourth quarter against Efes. Just love his playmaking.
9 assists on 0 turnovers. That's solid.
What can you say?
That's Lucas.
It's Kostas Lucas, and he just manipulated the defense so well with where he looks and where he passes. It's 2 different directions. And Juancho had a huge run, I think, end of the third against Fener, start of the fourth. He scored like 11 or 12 points straight. Just kept Pana in that game, and their main players delivered, I would say, in both of these 2 WE games.
Speaking of Fener and this crazy ending in OAKA, if you were Fener, what was your way to close that game in the final possession? What really went wrong in your eyes besides that shots and a foul for sure?
Besides that's what went wrong.
Because actually, when you rewatch that play, it felt like for some reason Fener was rushing the play too much. Why did they start the possession so early? They have a tie game. They have almost 12 seconds on a shot clock. And Hayes Davis released the ball like with 5 or 7 seconds left.
Yeah.
That's not what you usually do. So what went wrong?
Way too early start.
As you said, bad timing. If you're in this position, you go for the last shot. Don't leave any time for your opponent. If you hit, you win. If you miss, you go to the overtime. It's just as simple as that. And before that, there was this play where Guduric handled the ball against Lucas. I think they had a 1-point lead at that time.
Wasn't that a kick ball?
I think so.
It was interesting situation,
looked like it.
And I'm actually waiting for Todd's analysis because the Game Control column will be published today, probably after this podcast. So I also thought it was
like
violation, but
I mean,
Todd has a different perspective.
Okay,
I'm just
so
not sure about
if
the
a professional referee gives us his takes, I will trust him for sure. It made sense that Fener didn't set a screen, like you're leaving Guduric to play one-on-one against Lucas. It kind of makes sense. And you could close the game with a bucket there, but they lost the ball. Whether it was a kick ball or not, who knows? Let's wait for the conclusions. But
I just don't understand. Like, okay, Todd, the expert and all that stuff about refereeing, but how can you dribble the ball and the opponent, you are dribbling the ball, you are doing the crossover, and the guy is defending and he kicks the ball with his leg. How can that not be a kick ball situation?
I don't know, man. I think it was, but that's just my opinion. It was not called, so.
Unless, let's say, how they say, the ball found Lucas' leg, not vice versa.
Yeah,
it was not like he was kicking the ball. Let's wait for the analysis. I understand your question. I'm on your side. I also thought that was a violation, but Todd has a different perspective. So unless he will change his mind after watching the play a few more times.
If it's really nothing, then the rules are...
I don't understand the interpretation then, but and then the last play, as you said, you need to go for the last shot. You didn't. There was still time on the clock. And
there was Guduric wide open.
And that's weird because Nigel Hayes Davis, 1 minute before, he made that great extra pass to not Guduric, Biberovic, I think.
Biberovic. That was a huge free.
And it was superb extra pass. 5 seconds remaining also on the shot clock. This time he forced that situation. So.
Maybe he just felt in the moment that I can...
Because he made a big shot
hit
before
the game-winning shot,
Peladzakis.
but Hayes Davis is a smart player. You usually expect him to make the right play, but... Even the worst thing, it was that foul. I mean,
I just think it's what
Kendrick Nunn would pull up for a mid-court shot. If he hits it, well, what can you do about that? But then you go to him. There's contact. It's an easy call for the ref. It's an easy call. It's an obvious foul.
You can't even say nothing about that one. He just went into
just an obvious foul.
Into the body of him. I know it wasn't on purpose.
Because McCollum was the first man in Kendrick's way. And he just let him go, understanding the situation. Like, I cannot foul. So he just let him go. And then there's Hayes Davis all of a sudden running towards him and bumps into him. Man, just a silly play. But Hayes Davis said after yesterday's game in a post-game interview, like, it was a really bad way how we lost the game, but at the end of the day, that's life. You make mistakes, it happens.
Yeah.
I'm happy that the teammates continue to trust me, and a great bounce back game for them in Istanbul against Real Madrid.
Exactly. They recovered. They won their 7th game in the last 8 games. And we just spoke in the last Q&A session that Fenerbahce is on a good run. They're playing solid. They're still playing winning basketball, but now it's more quality basketball, I would say. But the point is that they're having this good stretch without Wade Baldwin. And we all remember those struggles of them trying to find their rhythm with Wade being in and out. He injured for the 2nd time. It's quite a long-term injury. I've checked the stats. With Wade Baldwin, they're 7-6. Without Wade Baldwin, they're 10-2. And since Baldwin is set to return soon, most likely after the FIBA break, I was just thinking, is that even an upgrade to this great performances of Fenerbahce, or just one more time it can a little bit shake up their game rhythm, and it might take a lot of time or some struggle to work him back in?
It will take time for him as well for his teammates, but I think when you have Wade Baldwin in your team, it's illogical to say he's going to hurt the team by coming back from the injury.
You're not getting Lorenzo Brown treatment. There's no way that suddenly he starts playing under 10 minutes per game.
I don't know. They still need a guard. Look, like they're so dependent on Guduric right now. Žagaras has to play a lot of minutes. Errick McCollum addition is crucial. It's a game changer. It's a big signing. Even at 37, he still cooks on the floor. He's hitting those buckets, mid-range shots, 3-point shots. He's even smarter than he was, let's say, 8 or 9 years ago. I mean, 8 or 9 years ago, he was quicker, but now he's smarter. So that's also very important. And I think there shouldn't be any problems with Wade Baldwin coming back because they have a really smart coach. If it wasn't the case, I could agree a little bit that maybe it will harm the team, the rhythm, the chemistry. But right now, it's just about Baldwin being himself, because this season he hasn't been himself at all. He started with an injury. He was back, but he wasn't playing at 100%, and then he was injured again.
Now out as well.
Now he's out for almost 2 months, probably.
More or less.
Yeah. So it's hard to answer your question, honestly. But in my opinion, a player of Wade Baldwin's quality will not make things worse. He should make things better. But it's up to the coach to, make his comeback as smooth as possible. What do you think?
They have to find the right chemistry with him, with the way he wants to play, with how Šaras wants to play, with how they want to play all together in that same unit. Because now it seems that everybody knows that Nigel is the first option, and they were used to that since last season, and everything is going fine. And with Wade, it changes a little bit. And I'm really interested to see, because the way Fenerbahce plays right now, it's the best they have played the entire season. And with Baldwin, it was completely different. I know it was early. I know they had a lot of injuries, so that makes me think that they can still figure it out. But at the same time, right now they're playing the best they have been playing all season. And
I think the ball movement is just amazing. Like the Olympiacos game especially stands out to me. That away win against Oli, the ball movement was amazing. In some sequences, it looked like peak San Antonio.
Yeah, but it's not only that. I think first it's their defense that surprises me, and also their ball movement.
Somehow they're making Sertac Shanli an elite rim protector. I never thought I would say those words, but in these recent games, he looks so solid in the paint. Even yesterday against Real Madrid and their size, the incredible size they have. Because yesterday was a strange game. I would say an unorthodox game with Real Madrid were without Hezon Yamusa, Deck. They were lacking those forwards, options offensively. They played ugly offense. They relied on big the offensive rebounding, big and heavy lineups.
Garuba, Ibaka.
At the same time, on the other side of the court, there's a lot of zone defense, and you don't see that anymore these days. The 2-3 zone, they played it for almost the whole second half. for most part of the second quarter. Fenerbahce took time to adjust. They couldn't make their first couple of shots against the zone, which basically favored Real Madrid and encouraged them to continue with the zone defense. And in some moments, it looked like Fener players weren't that well prepared for the zone, because it's pretty simple. Like, you need a guy on the free throw line, a big guy to get the ball there, to distribute. They did that. They tried to do that in the second half with Shanley and Hayes Davis, but the spacing wasn't always there. So with 5 seconds on the clock, they attacked the zone as a man-to-man defense with a screen, and somebody has to shoot. So they were forced to shoot a lot of threes. The percentages were not perfect, but I think their defense and physicality is what got them the win. They didn't play some perfect basketball. I think the way Real Madrid was looking yesterday, it should have been a 30-point game. My opinion, it was just an 11-point win, but it's a win at the end of the day. That's what's the most important thing. And Errick, again, they started cold, couldn't score for the first 4 minutes of the game. People were missing wide open shots. Schroder made 2 early substitutions. Guduric and Žalgiris out, Devon Hall and Errick McCollum in. And that's where they got their flow. Errick hits a couple of threes. Devon Hall dishes a couple of assists. And McCollum is just insane, man. I mean, when they signed him, I thought he's definitely going to help. I haven't seen him play much for the last 4 years because he wasn't in the EuroLeague. And I don't follow Euro Cup or FIBA Champions League that much, or the Turkish League. But, I mean, he can average 20 the way he's playing. He could average. I mean, he's not going
13,
to. He's not going
solid.
to average 20 because he's not playing that much minutes, not taking that much shots. But he always makes the right decision, always makes the right play, and he can still do those things he does at a very high level. And now it just feels like a mistake that he didn't play in EuroLeague for so long, for last 4 or 5 years, if I'm correct. Like, man,
such a veteran.
Huge credit to him. And he looks just like the perfect teammate right now. The way he talks with everyone, the way he encourages the younger players.
This is huge,
man.
Not only his numbers. By the way, I checked he's a spark. He's a spark to Fenerbahce's game, and especially Fenerbahce's offense to start with, because in the first 20 rounds, Fenerbahce had the 15th best offensive rating. Since Errick joined the team, they're number 1 in the EuroLeague. But it's good you mentioned the off-the-floor presence of Errick McCollum. From what I've been told, apparently it felt like Fenerbahce were missing vocal leaders inside the locker room. And Nick Kalatis left in summer. His presence was huge. Scotty Wilbekin apparently was also very important, creating and building the chemistry inside the team. But since you're out for the season, it's hard to have the same impact. So Errick's presence was huge because, as one of the GM described, he's one of those guys that when you walk in the hotel's lobby, you see 6 guys sitting. There's Errick talking, telling stories, mentoring guys, and 5 guys like listening like this. You know, he's just being a great mentor, very talkative guy, down to earth guy, really, really cool veteran for this team. And it might be that needed spark offensively on the floor, but also this glue guy in the locker room because it even feels like the chemistry improved a lot. And now it feels like all the pieces kind of find their fit in the puzzle. All the guys calm their game down and kind of feel good in their roles. And that's a huge credit for Errick. I mean, he stayed ready despite the situation. You're playing in the BCL. Yeah. And Karšiaka didn't have best seasons in the BCL, although they always build those good teams. But you're playing in BCL. You're used to those late payments. You know, you never know what kind of roster you will end up the season because half of the team probably will go somewhere. But you stay ready. He stayed disciplined. You know, he's in a perfect shape. He could play easily until 40s.
He doesn't look like a 37-year-old player.
He gets this call from Fenerbahce. I mean, Rytas was actually kind of close to get him. That's how life is unpredictable. You know, that's how life is unpredictable. But
back-to-back championships for Rytas if they sign him.
And suddenly Fenerbahce needs a guard. And suddenly they see this guy in the Turkish league that he's cooking and he's veteran. You don't need to go for the G League tryouts or especially after
because they tried with Skylar Meeks.
Skylar Meeks experience. You get to sign Errick McCollum and he's changing the momentum of the season. So
Did you see that
How
last?
sports is funny, as you mentioned.
Did you see that last play in the second
Bruno
quarter?
Fernando.
The way he faked Bruno Fernando.
Errick McCollum's clinic, man.
It reminded me of some Rajon Rondo moves he used to do to all those centers when he
took him to the dance
gets
floor.
under the rim. Like, wow.
The footwork.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great example for everybody, like for any young guard.
Or just the defense, like he's matched up against Kendrick Nunn. PAO get a switch on McCollum. They want to target with Kendrick. It's not like he's relaxing and just let Kendrick attack me and then I'm going to try to play defense. No, he's doing the veteran moves. After he passes and tries to get the ball back. Okay, now I'm denying. Kendrick Nunn does not get the ball, and I don't need to play defense. And my team maybe benefits from that because somebody else has to create.
That's what I said
just
about
those little things,
just
man.
being smarter. Like I remember perfectly the 2016 season when he won the Euro Cup MVP with Galatasaray and he won the title. And I looked at Errick McCollum, knowing that's CJ McCollum's brother. I was thinking about a volume scorer who's just a pure scorer, a great offensive talent, but later signing with FS being the worst team in the league. Now with so much experience, after seeing so many different coaches, he just knows what to do on both sides on the court. It's not like you need to play some extra physical defense, but you need to do the right things, just make the right reads, and that's what he does on both sides of the court, which is super impressive.
Yeah, kudos to the co-host. For the end of the podcast, I wanted to address this crazy NBA trade deadline that we had, and eventually it featured a lot of European players who were on the move. I saw at least 11 European players who were traded. For instance, Luka with Maxi Kleber from Dallas to LA Lakers, Bogdanovic from Atlanta to LA Clippers, Dennis Schroder from Golden State to Utah and then to Detroit, Yusuf Nurkic from Phoenix to Charlotte for Vasilija Micic, Jonas Valanciunas and Alex Len from Washington to Sacramento, Daniel Theis from New Orleans to OKC, got waived later, and even Matthias Lezor's draft rights were traded from New York to Milwaukee, and New York actually received Hugo Besson's draft rights in return. But considering only European moves, which move do you think was the best for European players? In terms of their role, their upsides to be important and to do something bigger until the end of the season.
Just one thing about those names, and still related to Fener. I know Fener just recently signed Gilson Bango, but Daniel Theis would be such an upgrade to that team.
What about the green team?
Also, I mean, most of the teams in Europe would benefit from signing a veteran like Daniel Theis.
Not all of them have the money.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about the teams that need a center.
Greens have some greens.
You know who has money.
Perhaps Daniel Theis will still get an NBA contract with his experience to be a backup somewhere in a contending team. Anyway, then talking about those moves, who benefited the most, I think our guy benefits a lot. I'm talking about JV because, of course, he's going to be a backup center now, and he's going to play like 15 or 16 minutes. But we all know JV, and we all know that he's a winner, and he wants to compete. And the losing culture in Washington wasn't for him, man. It was a struggle to see him being a part of a team that's obviously tanking, not interested in winning at all, and playing JV just to showcase him as a trade object. So, I mean, it didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And now he's joining Sacramento, a team that is competitive in a really tough Western Conference, but you're still competing to make it to the playoffs. You're going to help the team as a backup center. It's an upgrade comparing to Alex Len. So I think he benefits from this situation a lot. That's the first name I'm gonna drop.
Do Sacramento benefit from that much?
I mean, it's not a huge game changer, honestly. Look, the biggest trade they made was the Aaron Fox trade. It's pretty obvious. This trade just basically you upgrade your backup center position. So when did the backup center win a championship for any team or made a team so much stronger that they go to the conference finals? It's not the case. It's just like for us as Lithuanians, it's better to see JV back in that position, similar where he was in Memphis, for example, or even in New Orleans, to at least be in a team that's trying to win games.
Maybe it will make a job easier for Lithuanian national team coaches.
I think it makes the job easier for Lithuanian Basketball Federation when they're planning those business trips to the USA.
Save some money.
Because right now you need to go to Illinois to visit Matas Buzelis, and then you fly straight to California, to Sacktown. You visit 2 Lithuanians at once. You save money on hotels and flights.
I was thinking maybe it eases makes easier the conversation to have. Hey, you're the main guy, you're the backup. If you're not okay with that,
you mean like to have those roles established also on the national team?
It should have been done 2 years ago,
or 5, or 6. When
was the World Cup?
When was the World Cup in China?
Team, man?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Actually, as soon as the trade happened, I remembered your interview with Mike Brown in Germany. In Cologne, and you asked about Domas and you asked about the national team. What does he think about this?
How would you play them?
And he says I don't understand why they're playing those 2 guys together.
Yeah,
I know that Mike Brown is not the coach anymore, but I truly believe that Doug Christie has more or less the same point of view.
99% of the coaches don't think these 2 can coexist on the floor together.
It's a no-brainer.
Unfortunately, that 1% happens to be Lithuanian national head team
the
coach.
national team basketball is so different. Like,
and they're both different players.
I know,
in the national team.
Come on, in modern basketball, you just...
I wouldn't play them together. That's a fact.
If JV is not okay, then he has to deal with it.
I just think that our coaches...
It's the truth.
But our coaches are always in this bad position where you have that ambition to fit all the best players together.
It's not
thinking about...
Look at Germany's example. Look at Germany's example. Not even... They stayed with the same roster for 3 years in a row, despite having Isaiah Hartenstein, who was like willing to join the team. But they said, we have a good team here. We don't see you in that picture.
And they had the commitment before that cycle. That was also important.
I have an even better example. I have an even better example. Let's remember the Paris Olympics. Whether Rudy Gobert got injured or was it just coach's decision? Like, when did they start playing better? When did their Olympics really start in the quarterfinal? When they stopped playing Gobert with Wemby. They just stopped. And Gobert barely even played a part in the silver medal run. So it's always about the best fit for the team, not just putting your 2 best players together.
It's not fantasy basketball.
It's not fantasy basketball, exactly.
But who do you think will start on the national team? Or who will play bigger minutes?
What I would do if I was the coach, it sounds dumb because I'm just a nobody, but if I was the coach, it's not the NBA. Contracts don't matter. I start with JV. It's easier to start with a center like this. Domantas is my closer. So JV plays 15, 16 minutes. Domantas plays 24, 25. It's easier for me to start with JV to feed him a little bit for the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game. And it's not like it hasn't been done before that the best player of the team starts from the bench. I mean, maybe we have better examples with guards like Shane Larkin, for example. That's how I would run things. But I probably will never coach the national team.
Probably. There's still a chance. So you're saying there's still a chance.
I mean,
you haven't given up on that, right?
If they would offer me the job, I would consider.
Only consider.
Look,
he just put himself on the market.
There is this old joke saying that there's a 50% chance that I will date Rihanna. Because from my side, it's all settled. The only thing left is for her agreement.
What about your girlfriend?
So it's 50%. It's a joke. It's not about me. It's about any guy.
So it's about Rihanna.
Yeah, it's just waiting for her to decide on this.
Which of the moves you love the most?
From all
Europeans.
From Europeans?
Yeah. I'm trying to make this NBA Europe thing, on the podcast as well. I'm happy about Bogdanovic.
Really know.
because I was like expecting him to be traded. I wanted to see him in a better situation to compete for the title, to play an important role. But I don't know. I'm not sure about this trade. I wasn't very excited.
LA Clippers are not competing for the title.
So I'm not very excited about that.
Who are we kidding? It is right.
Come on. Kawhi Leonard, when the playoffs start, if they are in the playoffs, you will see him in street clothes. You can bet on that.
Two things for sure. Paul George, Joel Embiid, and Kawhi Leonard. First game of the playoffs, before second game announced that they are out indefinitely. No, but I'm happy for him because you still theoretically you get way better chances to actually compete in the playoffs than with the Atlanta Hawks. And to make
the Eastern Conference is just so much easier.
Yeah, I know. But it's you're not thinking about doing anything in the playoffs. With Clippers, if everybody's healthy, you still have way better chances. So I'm happy for that. Other than that, I don't know about Europeans. Not too many things to be excited. I don't know. Vasilij Micic, good thing he's out of there.
But what will be his
that
role?
Was my first reaction. Oh, it's good he's out of there. But when you see that he's facing another crowded backcourt and situation without a clear role, I mean...
Is there a chance that they might actually waive him? Or will they keep him?
I think he has quite a big contract and there's no point to waive him now. But after the season, his third NBA year is non-guaranteed. Okay. So probably that's when they will make this waive.
Probably they just wanted to dump Nurkic's contract.
Yeah. Okay, so just to wrap up one of the craziest NBA trade deadlines that we had, I wanted to build a bridge between NBA and EuroLeague basketball. I have these 5 different scenarios, and actually for the biggest one, of course, I want to hear Eritis equivalent in the EuroLeague of a Luka Doncic trade. Who would be as crazy as it was? That would make some sense, but that would blow our minds.
I would say Real Madrid trading the whole organization to Unicaja Malaga, switching rosters, switching cities, switching names, switching everything. Man,
Bro, how did you came up with this example? Really?
Because no player for player trade could be an equivalent to that. I mean, it has to be something bigger.
Real Madrid is doing relocation.
Just completely. You're trading everything. Even Florentino Perez is being traded to Malaga.
Do they trade the whole football department too?
Nah, that's too big. Let's stick to basketball.
And they're moving to BCL basically, right?
Yes, they're moving to BCL.
And they're saying for short term, this is better. We are winning 3 BCLs.
And then nobody cares actually because we will be out of our positions and jobs.
So that's my idea.
Okay, that's a wild one.
Okay,
that's shocking.
I mean, I just cannot compare trading Kendrick Nunn to Walter Tavares to Luka Doncic trade because it's just so big. It's such a big thing. Even players, even people who don't watch basketball, even people who don't like the NBA, they knew everything about this trade, every detail. They watched Luka's press conference from LA. They watched all the reactions on social media. It was that big. So no player movement in EuroLeague could be compared. You have to trade the whole Real Madrid organization from Madrid.
What if you trade Nunn for Zenkov and you include Ataman for Bartzogas in the package?
What I mean, you're just...
That would be wild.
But it's only wild. It's not like...
It's wild, but it's like 2 teams exchanging 29-year-old superstars and changing coaches, and both teams stay in a winning position.
Yeah, probably.
You're changing one MVP candidate to the other. At the moment, Nunn and Vezenkov are 2 clear front runners for the EuroLeague MVP. Anthony Davis to Luka Doncic. I mean, I cannot compare that to anything.
Okay, who's your EuroLeague's Jimmy Butler, the EuroLeague star who doesn't seem to be happy with his current situation, and he would benefit from moving, or where would you see him going to?
Didn't we just talk about that with Ogus when we were together, just the two of us on the podcast?
I think so.
We did, and we decided on Mirotic,
Chima
Moneke.
Maybe Mario Hazonia.
He signed a 5-year deal.
Yeah.
So I think he's fine.
He's fine, but
Chima is a good one.
Chima was my number one answer, and then after that, it was just, ideas off the top of my head.
Yeah. Maybe Mirotic was the number one suspect, but since there's
I think that was Ritis.
Yeah, it was my idea, and since that,
but it was a pretty good. But I don't think just
since that podcast they got some more wins and they improved in the standings.
It made sense for the last season, for instance. This year it's a little bit different.
If Mirotic wanted to win, he would have been somewhere else to win the title. I mean.
But the summer he signed with Milano, maybe the expectation was that they could be a title-winning team.
You're just being naive.
They signed so many big-name players.
Title. You're just being naive, my man.
Okay, who is your Dennis Schroder? The player traded for the 7th time in his career, and who seemed to have found his path. The way he played in Brooklyn, we were all in a way we were happy, but now he has to pack his bags once again.
Well, EuroLeague players usually make decisions on their own, whether to stay or leave. But right now,
sometimes there's a coaching change that completely changes your role.
I see Carson Edwards had his struggles in Fener.
Yeah.
The first season in Bayern wasn't that great. Now he's finally playing really good basketball, being the leader of the team, and maybe in the summer he'll move somewhere.
Yeah,
I have a better option from the same team. Shabazz right now, Napier.
Yeah.
I mean, look how many times he has changed teams already in the last couple of years. Milano, Belgrade, Milano, Bayern, and it's not like he's choosing because he's playing well. He's choosing because he doesn't like the place, or he does not play up to his potential in one of those places.
Okay, maybe that's a better example.
But Carson is a good one, because let's say he gets a huge offer, and that huge offer comes from Olympiacos, let's say. And it seems like, it's a good situation for me to be, compete for the title. And you end up in this Yorgos Barsokas rotation.
No, let's join the team with Williams, Goss, Walkup, those Dorsey.
Let's say Dorsey is out. Let's say Dorsey is out.
And Keenan Evans.
McKissick
and Keenan Evans coming back.
Maybe I will be the number one option.
It's not like it's not possible, Let's say Tyler Dorsey is out. Barsokas needs a
That's basically what Dorsey did, by the way.
But then that is on you. Because when in the NBA you get traded, like Dennis Schroder didn't ask to be traded. You know where you're going. You know who you're signing for.
There's no modern slavery.
If you don't know anything about Barsokas system, rotations, and the squad depth, ask people. They will tell you. So if you're choosing this from all the offers you have on the table, it is on you. If in the end of the day you end up being the 11th or 12th guy on the roster, because in the NBA you get traded. It's not in your hands. Like, you need to pack your bags and go.
Who is your Vasilij Micic? The player facing the last chance to prove himself and needing to make his mark.
I know one.
Ignas Brazdeikis. And he's not proven.
Why that did not surprise me
and he hasn't
at all?
proven anything to me. He doesn't need to prove anything to me, of course, because nobody cares about me and what I have to say. But I'm starting to doubt whether he can be a solid EuroLeague player on a winning team. So maybe he still has time to prove, because he still has a big contract.
You had the
Donatas?
difference? I don't have any option, to be honest with you.
You don't have?
I was investing my time in thinking those questions, not in thinking those answers. Because I knew that you're going to deliver.
Yeah, but you just want to stay friends with everybody, and you just
exactly.
don't want to insult anybody, hurt anybody's feelings.
That's true.
Yeah, you put me blocked with so many different players, and you stay.
I didn't
I'm
force
friends
you
with
into
you.
getting blocked by some of the guys. But anyways,
you did for sure with these questions all the time.
so who's your Vasa?
He has proven a lot in his career, but he keeps wanting to prove that he's the best 3 in Europe when he's not for a couple of years already.
Oh, you cannot let that go, right? Will Clyburn?
Yeah. But just because, of his statements, what he has had an amazing career, so you can't really say nothing to him.
Yeah. And the last one actually brought by Gitas. Because Gitas says that with Draymond and Jimmy Butler, the Warriors now have a potentially toxic locker room. So what would be the EuroLeague equivalent of the most toxic locker room situation? Current one, or let's say making a move to make it really toxic?
First of all, I want to defend Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green because these guys seem like they just want to win. Like
I also think Gitas was too
they're
harsh
willing to do anything to win.
putting those tags.
Look, when Jimmy Butler started his, let's say, Jimmy Butler show in Minnesota, when he was not happy with the effort, when he was not happy with the roster, he didn't want to waste his time being somewhere not in a position to win basketball games. And then when he was in Miami with Pat Riley, with Errick Spoelstra, making those runs to the NBA Finals, he was the leader. He was a strong character. So, I mean, I know that these strong characters, big players with big egos, sometimes can maybe become toxic with their behavior. But to me, Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler are just like serial winners, obsessed with winning basketball games. I don't see that as toxic. And
they're demanding.
Them being together in the locker room. Okay, so Draymond Green punched Jordan Poole. It's not a good thing to do to punch your teammate. But guys, do you like Jordan Poole? Do you like his attitude, the way he's playing?
So right? You say he was punched for a reason.
I mean, I don't want to encourage punching teammates. Yeah. I think a conversation is a better way to go. Maybe even with some strong language, but still a conversation instead of a physical confrontation. But I'm not going to side with Jordan Poole against Draymond Green. One is a champion. The other is also a champion, but he didn't become champion because the Warriors didn't become champions because of Jordan Poole. It was Draymond, it was Steph, it was Clay, it was Steve Kerr coaching, and all. He was just a young player being part of the team. And then when he signed a big contract, all of a sudden he felt like a star. And then he got punched, and then he got sent to Washington. So I think calling Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler toxic is not fair to them.
I agree.
Some of Draymond's acts on the basketball court are toxic when he's kicking people in the nuts, for example. But then we have to talk probably in the context of EuroLeague about, let's say, 2 really, really big characters that are hard to handle for some coaches being together in the same locker room. What could be the examples?
I was thinking about rivalries, for instance. What about putting Nunn and Wade Baldwin in one team? But at the same time, I think that they would find their way playing together. So, And it's not like they were hating each other, I think. They were just throwing some basketball, let's say. They were in a basketball conversation, nothing personal.
I would be interested in seeing that. How would they do together? But did Gitas ask for an example of the current situation? Or just mixing a couple of players?
You can mix players. I'm not sure about the current situation.
You don't need to mix players like Real Madrid. You can't look in the camera right now, be serious, and tell me that that's a great locker room.
Okay.
Yeah,
what are the symptoms of a bad locker room?
Look,
what did you notice?
What?
What did you notice? What did you? What you didn't?
But it looks like they're getting along. It's just that the coach does not really control that locker room, probably.
So,
Hezonja and Musa are good friends, and you can see from social media that Hezonja is good friends with Ratan Mays, who's barely even playing. Then you have the veterans, the Spanish-speaking guys like Campazzo, Yui, definitely getting along. And I don't know if it's a toxic locker room. I think it's a locker room that lacks discipline maybe and harder coaching. I don't think that the locker room issues is the reason why they are underperforming this year. But when they lose their heads in the game, getting those technical fouls, ejections, they're just
why Donatas you have this face
they're
on
just
right
being
now?
bad losers because they're not used to losing. They are Real Madrid. They're not used to losing so many games. They're not used to games going not in the way they want to, losing control of the game, being unhappy with the refereeing. Usually the opponents of Real Madrid are in that position. And this year they're going through all that. But definitely Hezonja is a big character in the locker room.
I just thought about having Will Clyburn and Nigel Hayes-Davis in the locker room. That would be interesting. That's why I had this face.
Okay.
So Will would be saying, I'm still the best small forward in the EuroLeague, and Nigel could respond, good for you. Now I'm the best power forward in this league. I don't care about that third position.
Yeah, nothing but a speedy recovery to Will Clyburn. So do you have... Oh, you threw this Real Madrid thing? Yeah, okay.
I just answered the
That
question
counts.
by defending Jimmy Butler and Draymond
Okay, that
Green.
counts. That counts.
Respect those old heads that maybe sometimes they go out of line, but they just want to win.
This new generation, they are avoiding confrontations. They all think that it's bad chemistry, bad stuff.
Punching people in the face is bad, but
it's a little bit extreme. Yeah, but you can find the middle ground. Being demanding, being mean. But yeah, we wish you peace full time.
Imagine playing with Kevin Garnett.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Not easy.
It's
But
not
not
easy.
toxic. Not toxic.
It's not easy. But if you're up to his standards, you might win championships with his leadership. So that Boston Celtics team with Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. Well, there's no place for shenanigans there. You have to be serious. Otherwise, Kevin Garnett might actually punch you. But if you get along, you might be an NBA champion.
Okay, guys, so don't punch anyone. Be serious, but be peaceful. Press like and subscribe our channel. Thank you for watching.